In the realm of modern literature, few names command as much recognition and respect as Stephen Edwin King. Known as the King of Horror, he has transcended genre boundaries to become one of the most prolific and influential writers of our time. Born on September 1, 1947, in Portland, Maine, Stephen King entered a world that would later become the backdrop for many of his darkest tales. His early life was marked by financial struggle and family upheaval. When Stephen was just 11 years old, his father walked out of the house one evening and never returned, leaving his mother to raise two sons on her own. Growing up in a series of small Maine towns, King found solace in storytelling. As a child, he devoured comic books and pulp magazines, absorbing the rhythms of narrative and the power of suspense. His first attempts at writing came at age 6 or 7, when he penned short adventure stories inspired by the comics he loved. By his teens, he was actively submitting stories to fan magazines, though most were rejected. These early setbacks only fueled his determination. He later recalled that he decided then and there to become a professional writer, no matter what obstacles lay ahead. After graduating from Lisbon Falls High School, King attended the University of Maine at Orono on a scholarship. There, he immersed himself in both academics and extracurricular activities, serving as editor of the student newspaper and contributing fiction to literary magazines. He also met Tabitha Spruce, a fellow student and aspiring writer, who would become his wife and most trusted critic. They married in 1971, shortly after graduation, and faced the challenges of early adulthood together. Stephen taught high school English while Tabitha worked at a local library, and they struggled to make ends meet while raising their young children. King's breakthrough came in 1973 when Doubleday published Carrie, his first novel. The story of a bullied teenager with telekinetic powers had been gestating for years, but King had nearly abandoned it until Tabitha retrieved pages from the trash can and urged him to finish it. The novel's success was meteoric. It sold well in hardcover and exploded in paperback, earning King a substantial advance and freeing him from teaching. With this financial breathing room, he could focus entirely on writing, a decision that would reshape the landscape of popular fiction. The 1970s and 1980s saw King establish himself as a literary force. He released novels at a prodigious pace: Salem's Lot 1975, The Shining 1977, The Stand 1978, The Dead Zone 1979, Pet Sematary 1983, and at 1986, each expanding his reputation as a master of horror, suspense, and psychological depth. What set King apart was his ability to ground supernatural terrors in recognizable human experiences. His characters were ordinary people facing extraordinary evil, and their struggles felt authentic because King drew from his own observations of small-town life, family dynamics, and personal fears. Beyond horror, King explored diverse genres. The Long Walk, written in 1967 but published in 1979 under a pseudonym, showcased his talent for dystopian fiction. The Eyes of the Dragon 1984 ventured into fantasy, while Misery 1987 delivered a harrowing psychological thriller about obsession and captivity. His willingness to experiment kept readers engaged, and his narrative voice, conversational, often darkly humorous, made even his most terrifying tales strangely comforting. King's relationship with Hollywood began early. Carrie was adapted into a successful film in 1976, launching a decades-long partnership between the author and the film industry. Many of his works became iconic movies or TV series: The Shining 1980, Stand By 1986. Misery, one packed with memorable characters and thematic depth. Throughout his career, King has been remarkably open about his creative process. He advocates for daily writing routines, emphasizing discipline over inspiration. In his memoir on Writing 2000, he shares practical advice for aspiring authors, blending personal anecdotes with technical guidance. The book became a bestseller in its own right, further cementing King's status as both practitioner and teacher of the craft. Personal challenges have punctuated King's life. In the 1980s, he battled alcohol and drug addiction, a struggle he later documented in On Writing. His near-fatal accident in 1999, when he was struck by a van while walking, became a turning point, prompting him to reassess his priorities and slow his publishing pace. During recovery, he considered retiring, but ultimately returned to writing, albeit with greater mindfulness about his health and creative output. Despite these hurdles, King's productivity remains astonishing. He continues to publish novels, short story collections, and nonfiction works, often releasing multiple titles per year. His later works, November 22, 63, 2011, Mercedes 2014, The Outsider 2018, and Fairy Tale 2022 demonstrate his enduring ability to reinvent himself while staying true to his core strengths: compelling characters, page-turning plots, and an uncanny understanding of human nature. Off the page, King is a devoted family man. He and Tabitha have 3 children and several grandchildren, and they maintain homes in Maine and Florida. He remains connected to his roots, frequently donating to local causes and supporting literacy initiatives. His philanthropy extends to educational institutions, libraries, and organizations combating substance abuse, causes informed by his own experiences. Stephen King's legacy is multifaceted. As an author, he has sold over 350 million copies of his books worldwide, with many translated into dozens of languages. As a cultural figure, he has influenced generations of writers, filmmakers, and artists. As a storyteller, he has proven that horror can be more than cheap thrills. It can explore the depths of human courage, the fragility of sanity, and the resilience of hope. From his humble beginnings in Maine to his status as a global literary icon, King's journey reflects the power of persistence, imagination, and the timeless appeal of a well-told tale. Whether conjuring supernatural terrors or dissecting everyday fears, he continues to remind us that the scariest monsters often lurk not in dark forests, but within the human heart.